Hey there, and welcome to another mod spotlight. I'm Exterminator, and thank you for joining me. This spotlight is going to be on the air filtering mod. This mod has been out for quite a long time, and I'm surprised no one's done spotlight because it's pretty cool. And I didn't really look into it until just recently. So essentially, what it does is it cleans pollution for you. Okay, so machines generate pollution, and this ties in pretty well actually with the video I just did on pollution mechanics, because we can kind of look at it a little deeper now. So machines generate pollution, and in vanilla Factorio there's no way to get rid of it except by like turning stuff off, and then it will just dissipate. But there's no way to actually clean it away or remove it with other machines. So this adds 3 new machines to the game: a air filtering machine 1, a Mark II, and a Mark III. And then it also adds air filters, which you need to put into the machines for them to actually work, and then recycled used air filters, which you can get by recycling these, okay? Because once these are used, they become used air filters, and then you have to recycle them to get them to like be workable again. Now, you don't have to recycle them. You could just use them up and throw them away or something, but that's pretty wasteful. And it adds some technologies to go with it. You get the air filtering, which is what you would initially do to unlock this. You get the Mark I machine, the ability to filter, and then the air filter itself. And the machines, this one takes 2 assembling machines Mark II, or sorry, 1 assembling machine Mark II, 5 circuits, and 10 steel. Not that expensive. This technology, they get pretty expensive actually as you go on. And this just unlocks a Mark II, which takes 2 of the previous version air filter machines and 10 advanced circuits. And then this technology is really quite expensive, but it unlocks a Mark III, which again requires 2 of the previous version and 10 processing units. And then you get this guy over here that allows you to actually recycle the filters. Now you'll notice the power consumption on these is actually pretty high. 3 megawatts just for one of these guys. 1 megawatt for this, and 200 kilowatts for this one. So I'm not going to do all the math, but you would kind of have to think about the fact that if you're using steam power still, that the pollution it generates from the power it draws is also going to kind of offset what it does a little bit. Obviously not entirely, because they're pretty powerful, but that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so to make these filters to begin with, you need 10 coal, 4 plastic, and 2 steel. They make in 5 seconds, not too bad. And then to recycle them, you need the used air filter, which you get after a filter's been used in one of these. And then you put that in with 5 coal, and you get a recycled one. So if we stick in a used one here, it takes 5 seconds, and you get the recycled used air filter, which you can put back in a machine and use. Right? And they just stack. Again, even though they're named something different, they'll just stack back again. Okay, so how these work is they clean the pollution, but only in the chunk that they are placed in. So you can see what a chunk is by first of all going into the F4 menu, and under your debug settings you can go and check this box, so tile grid, right? And then if you press F5 to actually get into the debug thing, this is a chunk. This thing here marked out by these dark solid lines, this is a chunk. Each one of these is tiles. So we have 10 burner miner drills here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Each one produces 10 pollution per second, so that's 100 pollution per second, right? These guys are not running. The bars are going, but they're not running. And yeah, so if we put a machine in here, obviously there's no pollution being generated. It doesn't have a filter, so it won't do anything. Now, one thing I would like to note is the numbers listed on the forum post for this by the dev, I think might be wrong, or I am just like going crazy and not understanding things, because on the forum post, and there will be a link in the description to this, he answers a question like in an FAQ, and says that these Mark 1s, or he just says the filtering machines in general, reduce pollution by 40 per tick in the chunk that they are in. And there are 60 ticks in a second. So 1 real second is 60 ticks. So based on that information, it would reduce pollution in its chunk by 2,400 a second. And based on my testing, that is nowhere near correct. That is not right at all. So my guess is it's about 40 per second, not per tick. And in the Mark II and III, there's no actual number values in the forum post or on the GUI here, GUI, I should say. And I looked in all the configs and couldn't find any actual numbers for these. So really all I can tell you is they reduce pollution a lot faster as you progress through them. So that's just something to point out. So if we go on here and we turn all these guys on, if I can like actually walk through them, you'll see pollution is going to go up pretty quickly. And I'm out of solid fuel. This one can run on coal. Okay, so if we go here, hit our debug menu because I have pollution checked in the thing, you can see it's going up really quickly in this chunk that we're in. And obviously it goes down a little bit because it's spreading, and when it spreads it takes pollution from itself. So we're already above 1,000, right? So if I stick filters in here, you can see this guy's actually working now. You can see the pollution is not really rising. In fact, it is very, very slowly decreasing. And the reason it's doing this is, well, one, the filtering machine is affecting it, but then also, again, since it takes pollution from itself to spread to the 4 ones adjacent to it, it's also still spreading, so that's why it's still it's losing pollution that way as well. Now we're generating 10 pollution a second, or 100 pollution a second from all of these. If it's 40 per second, that may be about right because of the loss from spreading. But again, I can't confirm because the numbers listed on the forum post do not seem correct whatsoever. If it's based on, I don't know, because 40 a tick, it's certainly not 40 per tick, nowhere near. Okay, so that's a Mark 1. If we throw down to Mark 2, it is far more powerful. You can see pollution is now rising. We're at almost 1,300. Throw these guys in here, it's going to drop very rapidly. Okay, so now it pretty much brought it down from 1,200 in just a couple seconds, even while pollution was still being generated. And now it's just not really generating. I mean, it's generating pollution, but it's cleaning it as fast as it's being generated. And one thing to note is this actually kind of acts as a pollution sink because these 4 chunks around it, based on how the pollution spreads, are still spreading pollution back to this chunk, right? Because it's adjacent to all 4 of these. And since it's being cleaned so fast, it pretty much spreads it back here and then just gets cleaned and goes away. So it's kind of a pollution sink, and it can go out further because this one spreads to this one and this one, so on and so forth. So it kind of acts as a sink for pollution. And then if we take the Mark III, it is it's pretty ridiculous. It's like instantaneous, no pollution. And even if I add, like, I mean, I can just add more of these even. It doesn't really matter. This Mark III is very, very powerful. So we go ahead and stick an air filter. We see we're above 1,000 again. I stick an air filter in here. You can see it's gone already. It just cleans it way faster than we're making it. And again, I apologize. I don't have any numbers on these. I looked in the config files and everything. I can't find, especially the Mark II and Mark III, I can't find any numbers like at what rate it does it. And I tried going off the crafting speed that's listed here, but like, cause this one has a crafting speed of 1, and I'm guessing it does it by 40 per second. So this one is 2, which would kind of be 80 per second, but that doesn't make sense because we were producing 100 a second, and if we were only cleaning 80 per second, the Mark II was like dropping the pollution way too quickly for that to be the case. So again, I'm sorry, I don't have any actual numbers. I don't have anything to work with, but essentially they clean it a hell of a lot faster as you progress through the tiers, and yeah, so pretty cool. It's a really nice way to kind of reduce your pollution if you you know, if you're really conscientious about that. And I mean, it may seem really powerful now, but like we're only producing like 110 pollution a second with these guys. In one chunk, you would typically be producing quite a bit more than that. Like especially if you're like power setups in one of these, you're producing quite a bit. So there you go, guys. There it is. Reduces the pollution only in the chunk that's placed in Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. Each one's more powerful. And yeah, as always, there will be a link in the description to the forum post where you can find this mod and download it and get more information. Pretty cool. Wish we had a few more numbers to back stuff up. I might have to ask the dev about that. But that will be it. So until next time, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.